So, we have a new killer in Dead by Daylight, the Trickster. A combination of the Joker and a K-pop star icon. It's early days yet, but my first impressions of him is he's quite weak. Definitely needs more lethality, in my opinion. And I think other people have said this in the community as well. He's definitely at the moment got the potential to be the weakest killer in Dead by Daylight. But so far he's a lot of fun to play. So, grown in storehouse on the Macmillan estate. And yeah, he's quite short, this guy. I think he's the same height as Freddy. He's a 4.4 movement killer. So 110% Huntress speed, which I understand they put in because he has ranged attacks, but I think his range attack is so weak it's not necessary. I think they haven't really thought about that. This is nice, all the new audio stuff. We've never had that from a killer before. He's like, well, we've got it on other killers, but he actually says something. But yeah, listening to him giggling away is quite fun. It's very hard to track with these knives. I hadn't figured out how to use the main event at this point. Which again, I don't think is very useful anyway. You have slow down going into it, you'll slow down as you're throwing your blades, which is slower than the survivor actually runs. You can't cancel it, so you basically have to commit to it. And then there's a slowdown after you come out of your power. And then you can't use your throwing knives for another, I think it's 4 seconds. Just yeah, really bad design. It's a shame because he's a very interesting killer, and I don't know, like I say, it's early days yet. Maybe the right combination of perks. I'm thinking more one-shot down sort of perks, or I don't know. But I think in the coming weeks, as people, come up with different builds and we sort of all get the hang of playing him, opinions might change. There might be some interesting things you can do with his blades, and so I remember we thought Pyramid's Head's power was useless when he first come out because it was just too easy to dodge. If you kept spamming it and doing it in a straight line, like the hitbox was so narrow for you to hit someone, people just moved out of the way. But then, after a month or so, we worked out you could, when people were trapped in animations like vaulting or throwing a pallet, you could use it then, and it was, more or less a guaranteed hit. That's an interesting perk as well that he's got there. So when they vault, they immediately block the vault for themselves, same as Bamboozle. And I think I'm going to play him like this for a while and try and get adept first of all, and kind of build up my perks on him, and before I start trying out different builds. Yeah, there's definitely some range on them as well, but obviously the further you've got recoil, so when you continuously throw them, it starts kicking upwards, much like a submachine gun would do. So it's very, yeah, you see I'm aiming too high there, and then as I start throwing more and more and aim up, it actually kicks up and recoils. It becomes very difficult to control at long range. And I haven't decided yet whether the best option is to spam them like a machine gun, or just make accurate shots, you know, like you would do with Huntress. Because there is a fall off, but it's nowhere near as extreme as the hatchets. Yeah, I didn't realise I'd run out of blades there. That's the thing, for 60 blades as well, like, they go pretty fast. I don't know if that's just because it's new, and I'm spamming them a bit. I think maybe the technique is to throw your knives and get them broken, and then M1 them. Or R2 off your own controller. Chase music is quite cool as well. Now this is the main event. There's a little delay there before you start throwing him, which has allowed it to get to this loop. I don't know how you cancel it, which is why he's still throwing. Then there's this animation. And as you can see, I still can't use my throwing knives yet. And now I can. It's too long. It's far too long. I mean, I could have prevented that gen from popping if my power came back quicker, because I could have been throwing blades. That seems to be the only viable time to throw them as well, when they're trapped in a vaulting animation, or when they're actually throwing a pallet. That's the only way you're going to get 8 into them, unless, you know, they're not very good survivors. Because I played it from the other side as well. I played it as survivor, and yeah, maybe just because it's early days yet, but the blades are really easy to dodge. Like just simply zigzagging, most of them miss you. And there's you've seen in this, people breaking line of sight. Yeah, I mean, he must get buffed. Surely, I'm looking forward to seeing some sort of buffs with him. Or reworks maybe of his power. Because I know I keep coming back to Huntress, but I think Huntress, it takes 2 hatchets to down somebody. With this, I think, I'm not sure if it's like 16 or 8. It's a lot of blades anyway, to actually put someone into the dying state. Why not just halve that? Why not make it like 3 or 4 blades? And just give him 25 blades instead of the 60 or whatever. And then the other factor is the laceration meter, that circle you see around the character icon there. If you don't keep injuring them, it goes down over time and disappears. Which I don't like, because you can't really leave chases if you've lacerated, you know, if you've used your blades. Because you give up all your press, all that goes away. I don't understand why they've done that. It's like, I think, who was I watching this morning? I think Scott Junn said, he made a good point of, you know, when the plague makes you sick, you don't just get better on your own. You have to cleanse, you have to do something, do you know what I mean? Why does laceration not work like that? And I agree with him, to be honest. I think, why doesn't it? I mean, like I say, the simplest fix they could do to him was just make him 115. Yeah, this girl was not looking behind her. So, yeah, sorry I haven't really talked about the gameplay much. I mean, there's not much to say. They were quite casual players. Everyone just trying out the new Survivor and stuff, do you know what I mean? And whilst I was sort of overusing his power to try and get used to it, I did keep track of my gens, so we do have a 3-gen, you know, one in the house there, and these 2 off to the sides. Usually that's a strong building, but yeah, I thought maybe you could do something with the knives. So yeah, there is a slight slowdown when he pulls up his blade as well, and just his regular power. Which again, them few seconds make all the difference. So yeah, they've started to go immersive for a bit. We do find someone eventually, like coming away from the 3-gen a little bit. Going straight back to this house, just taking a window. And I think she's running lithe because she's made a bit of distance there. So I mean, there's a bit of bullet drop with them. You can work that out. You may be able to get 1 or 2 into them, but the recoil is, yeah, even more unmanageable at distance. I think this is the same girl that doesn't look behind her, yeah. She knows how to loop, but she's just on autopilot. She's just running like the most optimal lines without actually looking where I'm positioned. There, you see, tracking like left to right or right to left is quite difficult, I'm finding. So let's check the doors here. Oh, yeah. She's got a key as well. Yeah, it's annoying you can't cancel that. I mean, there might be a way to cancel it, but I don't know at the moment. Yeah, see things like that. He says stuff in Korean, which is good. So yeah, unless you're landing every shot, that's typically what your downs in his power are going to be like. It takes way too long. I think even if you R2'd them, they got their little sprint burst. You caught them and R2 them again, would be quicker than that. But on the positive side, like, the design's good. The look of the aesthetics, at least. Something we never had before. The neon and the bright colours and stuff. And, yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. See, practice with him a bit more and see what other people in the community come up with him. But yeah, he really needs a buff, I think. And I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that either. So the last girl just bled out. Yeah, I couldn't find her. I went all around the map, all across the map, all around the edges of the map. I don't know where she went. Yeah, and for some reason that was just a brutal killer. I didn't think it was a particularly fast game, or... yeah.